Hello, everybody. Anime Reflux. I apologize. I was not prepared for what that would do to my throat. I have some noise making problems at the moment, currently. So, ah,
So last week, I said that I thought that this anime might be another one of the severely underrated ones.
Nah.
I like I liked what I saw here, but at the same time, I was getting flashbacks to One Piece, Bleach, and Kenichi, the Mightiest Disciple, and I haven't even seen that last one.
oh,
I,
this was Bleach all over, or
yes,
quite possibly
the
more
opening.
accurately, Bleach was this all over. It's hard
So
to
we're
tell.
talking about Peacemaker. Is
Yeah.
the anime this week, and I watched the dub and I also looked through the sub just to kind of see what the differences are. It is a pretty terrible dub.
It's
Uh,
not great, but I didn't really have any glaring problems with it. I watched the dub.
I have to imagine it
I
was an early dub. Like, as in the early 2000s, where they were not 100% sure of how they were gonna, like, make that whole thing good. So,
I will say so. The opening to this, the song and the visuals don't really match at all.
No, it
no,
was
they
odd.
don't. Yeah, it's completely anachronistic as having a super punk song for the Shinsengumi of the Tokugawa Shogunate
Like,
with, like,
okay, with Bleach, I understand. That has its own style. It can do whatever it wants.
well,
Like, as long,
Bleach it established very strongly modern day and very punk rebellious
yeah,
themes. This is fight for the sake of the power that want to expel foreign influences from the land is what the Shinsengumi are about. It's not really punk at all. Also, it's 1860 something, so rock guitars not really like.
you could get something like equally as cool without trying so hard to be cool.
Yeah, it wasn't shown off as much at any other point as when the intro song stopped and it was still playing the, you know, super effects laden guitar over a regular scene.
I
Uh,
don't like the soundtrack to this show at all. I think it's terrible and ill-fitting.
yep, it doesn't fit. It's not good.
I didn't hate
Well,
it. It just didn't fit.
well, shall we move on to the show itself then?
Sure. So it opens with a flash forward of a twerpy kid who is obviously our protagonist because this is a shonen effort,
He
and
has orange, flashy hair. He's your protagonist.
and that's pretty much all we needed to know. Oh, okay, this is going to be a fairly bog standard shonen. All right, sure.
If his mom doesn't have orange hair, he's adopted because his dad looks nothing like him.
That's his brother.
No, that was his dad in the flashback.
Oh no, his dad in the flashback, and then
Yeah.
there was his brother in the once the show actually started proper.
Which
And
is where we have him running forward through the streets with a sign in hand, wanting to join the local Shinsengumi,
Yep.
which Casey seems to know a lot more about than I do.
I know a little about it, not a lot.
Hmm.
he runs past this silver-haired guy.
Yeah, he runs past and slaps Hitsugai in the face with the sign.
I know
That was straight up
exactly.
Hitsugaya.
It
Yep.
was. It was.
Yeah,
Yep.
I'm just like, you know, huh?
I was watching the intro for it with the stupid punk song, and it's like, oh, that's Byakuya right there. Oh, look, there's Hitsuga. Oh God. Okay.
Okay. We need to find. I need to just let me take a look at this.
Yeah.
I need to
Which
find out
one
when
came
this came out.
first? We need to know.
'Cause this is very important.
I feel like this was 2003. I think I saw that on the anime page, if for it.
Peacemaker, Kurogame,
Initial
run-
release. Hold on. Peacemaker anime.
Stop fighting.
Okay, so the manga came out in 1999.
And the
feel like Bleach ran later than that, quite a bit later.
Let's see. The manga series. Oh, come on.
I could have sworn Bleach also came out in 99.
2001.
Oh.
Yeah. So a good 2 years later. That's... And let's be clear, that's, Bleach Soul Society stuff didn't happen until what? Probably about a year later?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So...
Hmm.
recontextualizes some things. But,
it's kind of interesting because Peacemaker only ran until 2001.
Can't imagine why.
Yeah.
Now I suddenly get the feeling that Tite Kubo's series started off as a fan fiction for this.
Yeah, probably. I mean, I've got to be honest. The amount of times while I was watching this episode and I realized, oh, that's what Soul Society was supposed to be a riff on. Oh, I'm a moron.
Yeah, apparently there's a Peacemaker Kurogane sequel series that is still running for some reason.
And the fucking whole all foreign influences must be expunged thing of the Soul Society makes way more sense now.
Okay. Can we get to the show itself?
Prequels.
Just we can save the
okay.
save the
We're looking for context on this so we can more so give our thoughts. But essentially, he runs past silver-haired guy, and I had a brief moment where I was like, "Please tell me that this orange-haired kid is not a protagonist, and that he just ran into the actual protagonist." Because I don't want.
That would actually be way more interesting.
No. I guess we're still going with him. Okay.
So we're wanting the albino protagonist then.
I would take him
I'd be fine
over
with
the
it.
other option.
Yeah.
Like,
No question. There's no question about that.
Okay, so we have him approach the dojo. 2 guys at the front of the dojo stopping him from entering.
It's not really a dojo. This the Shinsengumi were basically a police force created because there was rebellion. I'm giving context. There was rebellion because Japan had recently been basically forced to interact with foreign influences, mostly the British.
I thought it was Americans.
In 1861, I'm pretty sure it was the British because there was a whole anti-British thing in Japan for a while. I might be mistaken. Regardless, they had to deal with foreigners. They didn't want to, so they tried to expel foreign influences, and there was rebellion because of that. So they created this basically additional supplementary police force from Ronin samurai, basically. And a lot of them ended up just basically being thugs, but yeah, they were a supplementary police force, so this is their compound that this kid's just rolled up on.
So we have Tetsu, the protagonist.
His name is Iron. He's the protag, guys.
Yeah.
His name is Iron. Isn't that cool?
He's got a will of steel.
This
Sorry.
is interesting.
Yeah.
This is actually really interesting. Tetsunosuke Ichimura, he's a real person.
Okay.
Well, now I'm going to go down a rabbit hole. Continue.
That suddenly makes everything a lot more interesting. And anyway,
Maybe not.
At the time in 1864, he had psychogenic dwarfism and has not grown physically for 2 years due to his emotional disorder. Well, that's interesting. Anyway, the actual series, we have him bugging the two guys guarding the entrance to the Shisengumi. He whacks one of them with the sign showing that he's got a little bit of brawn to back up his attitude, I guess. His older brother Tatsu comes up and apologizes for his behavior, drags him away after he's trampled by a police force that storms past him. And they're sitting by a river with Tatsu discouraging Tetsu from joining, and Tetsu saying it's easy for Tatsu to say because Tatsu is joining as a bookkeeper. Then we have Unohana XB, whose pet pig, who's playing fetch with her pet pig, and said pig charges into Tetsu and knocks him into the river. What would you call that? That's not a river. Just a canal, maybe?
Yeah.
Sure.
And
Also, I'm pretty sure that's a dude.
it is a dude. Also, it's a little unfair to call it an Unohana XP. It's actually the other way.
Yeah, Urahara. You're right. Yeah, we shortly find out that that's Urahara, because when he apparently invites Tetsu back and says he'll do him a favor, Tetsu says he'll send the head fighter brawling, which he actually means sprawling, which they correct. And when he's accepted and someone lends him his gear, said person comes out and basically shows that
It's the same dude, by the way.
Yeah. The one who was playing fetch, and now turns out he's the main fighter there.
He's the captain of that particular unit. And then you begin what I like to call the Chapter 1 fight. Because, in any shonen, there's that Chapter 1 fight to show off your character.
And you're sure they kind of sucks, so you let the audience know, how far they have to go and such.
Or
But
how
they have
powerful they are.
potential.
So we have
Yeah, I know, right? It sucks.
Urahara XB just dodges and smacks him around for a few minutes. Then, when he gets sent flying into his brother, he asks for a second sword and takes a dramatic stance. And I honestly wasn't expecting that to make a difference, but suddenly he starts showing a little bit more competency, forcing...
Yeah, but he's got that Kirito skill right there. Don't make him pull out another sword.
Kirito?
Yeah.
Can we just, in future, just not compare things to Sword Art Online when it really hasn't merited that kind of insult? Like that, this wasn't so bad as that.
I know, I'm joking, but the two swords thing, I don't know. It feels kind of forced.
It feels... As soon as that started happening, I flashed back to One Piece, just Zora versus Komina, but it's just not the same thing. Anyway,
Yeah, that's to be clear, that's not how that works. You don't pick up a second sword and suddenly you can do acrobat moves. Like, he could have done that stupid roll between the legs thing with one sword.
Yes. He could have...
In fact, it made it harder to do having two swords.
Which is why it's like, it doesn't feel natural. It's just, oh, now he's going all out. Now that he has two, you can still be skilled with one sword. like it's just you won't be able to use all your techniques. But even then, rolling under a guy's legs and dodging is not a technique exclusive to two swords.
And it's also stupid.
It is also
It's
stupid.
like the stupidest thing you can ever do against anyone with a sword.
Yes.
Yeah, because they still have feet and can kick you.
It also takes a long time. It takes much longer to recover from a roll than it does to just twist around and slash something.
Also true.
So, on the summary, we have them fighting for a while, and then Urahara XP's when he starts taking Tetsu seriously, sends him flying through the screen door, has him down, and then, to almost everyone's surprise, Tetsu gets back up, despite the blood trailing down one side of his face, to keep trying.
Yeah, and
Then-
there's a message sent up at some point to the head guy, who's just like who's told of this kid's name, and he's like, yeah, no, he's going to die. I recognize that name. When he comes down, right as they begin to continue their duel, and he breaks it up.
Literally.
By smashing, what's his name's sword? The first unit captain guy?
Yeah.
Urahara.
It's really a little confusing. I feel like it's supposed to be an Unohana XP, like, oh, super nice all the time, get into a fight, I'm gonna fucking kill you, kind of thing. But, either way.
So, then head guy says, no, you can't join. We don't need weaklings here. Something like that. Cut to a while later, Unohana Urahara XP comes up and...
We don't know their names. We don't.
Yeah, I can't complain unless we actually know what their names are.
I could look it up, but I'm not inclined to.
You can't be asked to. It's fine.
So, Unohana XP talks to him at one point and says, is that really what you want? And if so, come to the X area tonight and you'll see what we mean. So we see head at that time with Tetsu hiding in an alley. We see the big boss guy talking with a woman who is, we shortly thereafter find out, luring him into a trap so that he can be ambushed. And
then he
they
murders
proceed.
some people who tries to ambush him and looks back at the kid and is like, this path is the path of a demon.
To be clear, murders all the people who were trying to ambush him, including the woman. That was still very not okay in Japan.
What, killing
at the
women?
time? Yes.
Yeah, and so he basically tells Tetsu, the only thing you'll learn here is how to be a demon.
Yeah. It's kind of like he just said earlier, you will not learn the sword of vengeance here. So it's just like, well, you won't learn vengeance, but you will learn how to be a demon. Those two don't have any crossover at all.
There's a little bit of good mesh there going on.
What it felt like to me was saying, I don't want you to have to learn this. That was what he was saying the first time around. I don't want to subject you to this. Basically, he's too young to be throwing his life away like that.
Yeah.
Though Unohana Urahara XP basically said he saw a similarity between the two of them. I guess he really, was he male? Was trying also to spare Tetsu from what he had become. And yet, last scene, we see Tetsu bloody in the rain, just vowing that he would become Tetsunosuke Ichimura of the Shinsenku. I think we skipped over the title drop earlier. Flashback to his father. He was saying that Japan was entering an era of chaos, and yes, Casey.
Sorry, this is the best part just because of the history involved.
Japan was entering an era of chaos, and Tetsu's father was encouraging him to become a peacemaker.
In English. He encourages him to be a peacemaker in English. To the kid who joins the Shinsengumi that's fighting against anything English.
I see the amusement.
It's like, here's the thing about this show. It feels like a very generic shonen. Like, this kid is 15, but he's the size of Kid Goku. And he has the outrageous hair that makes no sense.
Yeah, I get the feeling that the actual Tetsunosuke didn't have vibrant red hair because he was Japanese.
Well, it's not like we can know that for sure.
He's Japanese. We can be fairly certain.
Fair enough.
It's not a real thing. That's a very anime thing.
For those who are interested, if this can just be put in the link of the video, that's telling about his real history. And and him in fiction as well.
Remember when anime made Nobunaga a girl, and all of the members of that, and they were like, "Hey, here's all your waifus, your historical waifus." Man, thanks, anime.
So, do we have any thoughts on this besides it's a precursor to Bleach?
Precursor is being very generous to Bleach, but sure. I wish this was more interesting. There is a lot you could do with a show that is dedicated to telling a story about the Shinsengumi. Like, there are other shows that have kind of skirted around this sort of thing. Like I say, Bleach did a riff on them, basically, and I think it was Gintama did something similar.
Gintama's done a riff on everything.
Yeah.
I think Rurouni Kenshin touched on it slightly.
Yeah, like there's a lot of things that kind of just sort of skirted it but didn't really deal with it directly. I think one of the Way of the Samurai games, or possibly all of them, I only played one, was basically about this conflict, more or less. With expelling foreign influences and the Choshu clan, I think, who were the ones that wanted to accept foreign influences. I can't remember. But yeah, so I would have liked this to be more interesting so I could watch something more interesting based on something I feel like is a little underrepresented, maybe.
It feels like the idea of the Shinsengumi was used as essentially window dressing for a shonen battle series, rather than being something more integral, I suppose. Personally, I have no problem if a shonen follows the standard rules. It's always been about execution for me, and I don't feel like the execution here was very good.
That's
It
how
was
it
decent,
always.
but it wasn't like great.
That's how it always is. You can have the most outdated idea in the book, and you can execute it in a way that'll have everyone, or at least a lot of people, praising you for it. And you can take the most original idea ever, and if you do it half-baked, then nothing but shame.
Yeah, doesn't really matter if you can't actually execute. It's unfortunate, but that's how it is. Sad times.
Quite so. But at least... yeah, there's not really an at least here.
At least I got to do a little bit more reading up on the Shinsengumi in prep for this episode, so that was fun. I did enjoy doing that.
And at
It's a fun
least
part
it
of
wasn't.
history.
And at least it wasn't overly fan servicey. That's my.
There wasn't
side.
any. There was none. There was one female character, and she got murdered.
Oh yeah, you're right. Wow.
Right then.
Yeah.
Shall we move on then?
Yeah, sure.
Oh boy.
Which,
Yeah,
by the
what do we
way, 19th century Japan, women just kind of being as far in the background as possible. Yeah, that's about right. Rolling.
Very well. Rolling. All right. Let's put this behind me.
Us.
Me. You all enjoyed this more than I did. 10.
J.
J.
All right. We've already hit 7 in this category. Remaining now are 14.
Right then. Well, in that case, let's whittle it down further. 3. I don't
3.
like that number.
3.
JoJo.
Yes!
Yeah.
Wait, can we actually even do that?
Sure, why not? We haven't done it before.
JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
We've all seen it.
So?
So,
Like, you saw it recently.
Not that recently. It was like 6 months ago.
Go finish watching part 4.
Shut up.
You coward.
all right. So,
I'm already
let's-
singing the theme song in my head.
So,
JoJo.
what's the synopsis for Phantom Blood?
Oh, bear with me. I can't figure out which ones. There it is. An epic horror action adventure spanning the generations of the Joestar family. Each arc focuses on a certain member of the family and his or her battles with vampires, super vampires,
'Cause there's a
distinction, and other stand users. Phantom Blood stars Jonathan Joestar and the ambitious Dio Brando. It shows how the stone mask was found and how Dio first obtained and utilized its powers. Once Jonathan and Robert E.O. Speedwagon
REO Speedwagon.
realize Dio's intentions, they must team up with Will A. Zeppeli and learn Ripple Hamon to stop Dio.
Well, I could honestly give a synopsis of the first episode right now. I remember it that clearly, but
Yep.
Nope, I'd rather watch.
I remember.
I have
I
not.
remember I was trying to get into JoJo way back when, and so I'd often do like a bad live reading of the JoJo manga with some friends in a call. And I replaced the word ripple with the word nipple, and
no.
The
it was
nipple.
fun very quickly.
Wow. That's it's really, really mature of you.
Yeah, I know. I'm not very mature. I think you've realized this by now.
Be around.
I mean, if you want to make it even worse, replace the word blood with semen, and there you go.
Okay.
Shut up. Let's move on. Casey, please.
Yep. Okay. So, yeah. I'm kind of excited for next week. You all should be too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Hey, Casey.
Yeah.
This episode ends. Can you play like 5 seconds of Roundabout in the background? Next episode.
Maybe.
Don't do that. We'll get sued.
To be continued.